Hi, Mike from Sexy Water here, and I'm here with Mich Clark. Hey, Mich.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, are you?
Yeah, good.
So this is actually going to be an in-depth video based on Mich's experience with the water. Now, Mich did a really short, sharp testimonial for us, which we're very grateful for. However, this one, we really want to get into the depth of what Mich was going through her journey where she battled through cancer and came out, obviously, the right end. And she's got an amazing story, an absolutely beautiful, beautiful person, and I've been so blessed to have met her. So Mich and I met back in 2015, probably around about, I think, May.
Yeah.
Would you say May?
Yeah, about May.
Yeah, so Mich reached out to me as it started was, she rang me, and I can remember the phone call and saying to me, hey, I'm Mich, we've got some mutual friends, and I'm ringing you because I believe you've got the best water in WA. And I was like, well, I believe so. And she said, well, that's funny because I'm drinking what's called the best water in WA. So she's drinking a spring water, which is really good. And I hadn't heard about this spring water. However, she asked me we had probably a good hour's chat, didn't we?
Yeah.
And really opened up and sharing each other's stories. And I was just amazed at what Mich shared with me. So we caught up and we tested your water. I think I'd like to go back to where you were and what you were going through, Mich, because you reversed cancer naturally. So, and it wasn't an easy process because it was a massive shift that had to take part in your life, wasn't it? Yeah. So would you mind going back there and sharing the journey?
Yeah, no worries.
Cool, thanks.
So I was, I've actually had cancer twice. So and it was breast cancer.
Yeah.
And it was a very long journey, I guess, and I know 100% that it was all stress based. And I understand now exactly what stress does to your body in raising your acidity levels and all of that kind of stuff. And looking back on the journey now, there were so many telltale signs. If only someone had actually said to me, oh, you experiencing this, that could be this, watch out, you need to change these certain things. But obviously, hindsight being such a beautiful thing. So the first time around was 2005, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was very proactive in trying to seek out somebody to diagnose me. I knew in my body that I had cancer. I knew 100%. Yeah, trying to convince anybody else in the medical world that I had cancer and that they needed to test me for it so that we could then, try to fix it. It proved to be ridiculously hard, and it literally took me over 12 months to get a diagnosis because nobody would listen to me. And I went from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. I was turned away at pretty much every single, mind you, this is like pre-Kylie Minogue, and I say that because she was probably one of the people that was instrumental in bringing about awareness in younger women having breast cancer, because up until then, supposedly, it didn't exist unless you were over the age of 55.
Okay, right.
So, so that was then, and funny enough, actually, when I woke up from my first operation, Kylie Minogue was the first thing I saw was Kylie Minogue literally on the news, and she'd just been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was like, wow! I literally opened my eyes to that after an operation. Wow. So trying to get the medical profession to take my concerns seriously, and I was asking them, can you please run a test on this? And they were literally telling me that I was a crazy woman. Literally, and turning me away, and they actually told me to my face that I was a time waster. One lady did, wow. And it was very demoralising. Eventually managed to get through after multiple doctors to have a test done, and got a diagnosis of the fact that they didn't know what it was, but my cells were changing. It makes me laugh to think about what they said now, but they said, oh, we don't think it's cancer, but your cells are actually multiplying. So they're actually dividing and multiplying rapidly. Now, what do we know about cancer?
Yeah, absolutely. It was crazy.
And I actually had a medical doctor sitting in front of me saying, well, we don't think it's cancer, but it is doing this. And then they did end up finding a lump, and at that point, and he said, look, it will probably just be fine. And I said, no, take it out. Now, in saying this, if I had known then what I know now, there's no way I ever would have had any of those operations. But this was just a part of my path going back then. So they took the lump out, and when it came back, he was actually shocked, and he said to me, "Oh my God, it's cancer." And I was completely not shocked, but everybody else was. Everybody else was shocked around me. And then he said, "Oh, but that's okay because we got all of it." And I said, "Well, are you absolutely sure that you got all of it?" And he said, "Well, yeah, we're fairly sure." Fairly sure. So, and I said, "Okay, well, what's the alternative? Let's just say, for argument's sake, that I believed that you didn't get all of it. What's the alternative? Being a young, 32, nearly 33-year-old lady, with 4 girls, with 4 children." And he said, "Well, there's some radical people out there that might just say, go have a double mastectomy." And I said, "Great, let's do that." So I had a double mastectomy through choice. Because I wanted to get rid of it. Again, not knowing then what I know now, I would have made massive different decisions. But so I had the double mastectomy, and lo and behold, because when they take anything off your body, of course they go test it. Test results came back, and he said, "Oh my God, I'm really sorry, but when we actually tested it, it was in other places as well. So there wasn't only just the one lump. There was actually more." And I was like, "Oh, that's okay because we've got it. Is there anything else you want to do at this point?" And he said no. And I didn't go down a chemo route or anything like that because it wasn't really done kind of back then when you'd had a double mastectomy like that. So, so I had that. And the whole time that I was going through that process, I understood the necessity for a very clear mindset and goals. So at that point, I thought, right, because everyone was telling me about the magical 5 years, if you can get past 5 years, you're home and hosed. So I thought, right, okay, I need a 5-year plan, I need a 5-year goal. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to put in my mind so that when we get to 5 years, I can achieve something? I've got something to look forward to and all the rest of it. So I went to all of my friends and family and I said, "What is the one thing that you think that I would never be able to achieve, regardless of anything, like anything at all? What do you think I would be the worst at?" And pretty much everyone came back and said, "Oh, you'd make a really horrendous police officer." And I was like, "Right, that's it then. I'm going to apply for police." So literally I built businesses and everything in the meantime. I'd already had a finance company, and then I started up an online printing and graphic design company and editing photography and a bunch of other stuff. And then all of a sudden, the 5-year mark came, and I was like, hang on, I've got these businesses, what am I supposed to do? But it's the 5-year mark, and that was the promise. And I never break a promise to myself.
Yeah.
And so I had to go, "Here you go, business partner, you can have all of that, you look after all of that. I'm off to apply for the police." And he was like, "What?" I said, "Well, it's got to be done." So I applied for the police, and lo and behold, got in. So I ended up going through the police academy and and all that kind of stuff, and then working for the WA Police, which was great. And then where I was actually put was at the Perth Watch House, highly stressed. And anyone that's watching that kind of has ever either been in there or has worked there would understand. It's kind of like almost like living as a prisoner, pretty much. Wow. And there's a very different kind of psyche thing that happens when you're in there. I hadn't dealt with a lot of issues that were going on as well from the past, which is why I'd had cancer in the first place and all the rest of it. And lo and behold, almost 5 years to the day after that, I was re-diagnosed. So basically, I was re-diagnosed with breast cancer, but not just like a low level, full on like rapid breast cancer. It was extremely aggressive. Now, bearing in mind, I'd already had a double mastectomy. Yeah. So how does a person have breast cancer if you don't actually have breasts? Yeah. So that obviously missed cells, missed cells, and the fact that also there was a drama that I hadn't fixed in my life, and so I then went back down the medical route because they were trying to give me a timeline, which I was blocking and telling them I I don't do linear time at all. I don't believe in that. I'm the only person that's going to tell me and my maker. Well, I'm going to be here for as long as I say. It's got nothing to do with you. And so I did go down the medical route. I did do the whole chemo. I did cut it short though. And I did radiation treatment as well. But the level of drugs and everything that they had me on, that's what actually nearly killed me. I was like 45, 47 kilos. I literally looked like a skeleton, a shadow of my former self. I was still trying to maintain my life, and I was still going to work.
Yep.
I was literally picking my boss up in my car every single day and driving to work and all the rest. So it got to the point where I was too sick to drive to work, but I needed to have something to do where I knew that I mattered. And so when I was too sick to drive to work, I caught the train. So I was still going to the watch house on a daily basis and frightening the absolute bejeebies out of the inmates that were in there, which was hilarious. And yeah, so I got to the point though where the treatments that they were giving me were making me sicker.
Yeah.
They were making me worse. I wasn't getting the results that I wanted to get. They said that they could never give me a clearance ever. And if I didn't carry on taking the drugs, that I would basically not still be here. It led to, because of all of the drugs and stuff they were giving me, I didn't know at the time, it was causing other female reproduction issues, let's just say, to the point where they said, we think that the cancer's actually now spread and you need to have a total hysterectomy and oophorectomy. So literally we need to remove absolutely everything. And I resisted that for 12 months. And I said, I couldn't quite get my mind around it. Boobs is one thing, but the whole internal stuff, that's entirely different, because that changes a woman at a different level, Mm-hmm. So I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. But the issues that were arising that I didn't link at the time, again, not being awake back then, I didn't link it to the drugs and to all the treatments and everything like that. I just thought, oh my God, I'm getting sicker. I was literally bleeding to death on a daily basis, and it was getting to the point where I couldn't actually function because I would be out in public. I know that's pretty graphic, but that's the reality of it. I would be out in public and literally have to have people stand around me to sort it out because it was just completely uncontrollable. I was literally bleeding to death. Not great and very difficult in a working space.
Yes.
Yeah. So I agreed, and I went in and I had this operation, which is this huge, life-changing operation. And the reason that I agreed is because they said to me, if you have this operation, you can come off all the drugs. You won't have to worry about anything anymore. It will be fantastic. And I said, okay, let's do it. So I relented, I gave up and I gave in and I allowed them to do it. And I went back for my checkup afterwards and I said, right, okay, so woohoo, we're here on the other side, everything's great. And they said, yep, that's fantastic and good news. Guess what? You didn't have cancer in any of those things at all. And I'm like, what? You've just literally taken everything out and you're telling me that there was nothing. They said, yeah, it's great. There was nothing to worry about whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I just remember standing there with my mouth hanging open, just going, that was completely pointless. Completely pointless exercise. And they just did not care. And they said, and not only that, but to add insult to injury, the next thing they said was, oh, and by the way, you know the whole drug thing where we said you could come off the drugs? Well, in actual fact, we thought about it and you've got to stay on the drugs, not only just for the normal 5 years, but we want you to stay on it for 10 years because in actual fact, we still think that you're not going to make it. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to play this game anymore. And that's the point where I basically walked out and I didn't walk back in. And I was getting phone calls every single week from specialists saying you need to go back, you need to go back for more treatment, you need to go back for more chemo, you need to go back on these drugs and we need to up it, we need to add in. And I said, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing any of it. I started doing my own research and I really did start to dig deep and look at the issues, because if there were the one thing that I started to realise was that if you're going to have cancer twice, then there's no point in just carrying on having treatment. All you're doing is masking the symptoms. So let's get to the actual issue, and then that will, get rid of the symptoms, basically. Yeah. So I went on a massive soul searching expedition and a massive health journey, basically, and said, right, okay, let's get to the crux of the problems. And I did. I got rid of everything out of my life that was stressful. And as much as you can, obviously a small amount of stress is good, and it's part of everyday life. But it's being really aware of what you're allowing in, and that is on multiple levels. So whether that's on a spiritual level, whether that's on relationship level, whether that's employment wise, food, that kind of thing as well. And obviously water. And if there was one thing that I knew that I had to do, was to drink copious amounts of water, because I had allowed these people, and I would never ever say, this is my disclaimer here, for anyone not to go down the medical route. Always seek opinion from medical professionals, but also don't be closed off to other routes as well, and just so that you can get all the information, then you can make an informed decision, as opposed to just being led blindly along and allowing other people to tell you, what's best for you.
I think that's a really good point there, Mich. That's something that I know with our friendship and the relationship we've had over the time, and I've learned so much from you, which I'm very grateful for, and thank you so much, because you've really helped shift me personally from a mental point as well as a physical point. The one thing that I really got from Mich was don't put your health in the hands of somebody else. Really take action for it, and obviously with your experiences, you've got a lot of power behind you to actually be able to say that. And that's where it really comes down to, like you said, the medical profession does a great job for what it does there. However, at the same time, it's your body, your life, and it will be changed if you don't take action for yourself. And
absolutely.
Reach out and obviously ask for help in other areas that are away from the industry. And I know I have, and I've been very grateful for everything that I've been educated around yourself and other people that I've met. So please, thank you for that. So continue there with obviously deciding to go down your own holistic route with what you learn.
So I started doing a lot of studies, and through one of the things that I did was I actually completed through an institute in New York. I did integrative nutrition. So, and the interesting thing about that is that everyone goes, "Oh, you're a food coach," or "Oh, you're a dietitian." I am so not either of those things. I love food, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I do, because food is only a very small part of it. It's basically all of the other areas in a person's life. So it's dealing with things at a much deeper level and understanding that it's all parts that make the whole. So if you have, let's just say for argument's sake, I'll use one of my clients as an example. I had a lady that I was working with who was actually, to look at her, you'd say, wow, she's super fit, right? But she couldn't shift the last few kilos that she was trying to get rid of, and she had no idea why. She was going, Mich, I don't get it. I eat well. I go to the gym. I have a hard day's work. I come home and smash it out at the gym. Go do all the right stuff, and I go for a run and all the rest of it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm like starting to clock up these things in my mind here. And what it basically came down to was the fact that she was eating fantastic. She was after we'd had a conversation, she was drinking the right water. Now, fortunately, so that made a massive difference as well, and she was actually able to lose a few kilos just by changing things out for the water as well. But what she didn't realise was that, excuse me, her relationship with her partner was at a bit of a crisis point. It was causing massive amounts of stress for her, and she was also not enjoying her job. And then she was going to work every single day and being really stressed, and then she was going to the gym from work and she was smashing it out, as she said, and she was literally just going stress, acid, stress, acid, stress, acid, and then wondering why she couldn't actually lose the weight because our bodies are very interesting in that your body wants to survive regardless of anything, and it will change and adapt to suit the environment, right? So if you've got an increased acid level going on in your body, the first thing it does is it will hang on to fat and put it around your organs so that your organs are okay and they don't start to get eaten by the acid that's been created by the stress. So, so if you're hanging on to belly fat and you've actually got quite a stressful lifestyle, I can tell you that it's not going to happen that you're going to get rid of that by going to the gym or any other means until you actually start addressing the stress levels. Because your body wants to hang on to it regardless, because it doesn't want to die, basically. It doesn't want to self-sabotage.
It's getting back to what you said earlier, dealing with the cause and not the symptom.
Yeah, that's right. So it's kind of looking at all areas. So the reason why she couldn't lose weight had nothing to do with the food and nothing to do with did have something to do with the exercise. Funny enough, but the opposite of what she actually thought. But it was actually because of relationship and employment. That's the reason why she couldn't lose weight. And most people would look at that and just go, okay, well, I had zero idea that was even a thing. So that's the sort of stuff that I kind of coach in. Again, one of the things I coach in, I guess. But so I went on a big journey of self-discovery, and I did the whole health coaching course and became qualified, and I learnt so much about myself, and then I learnt about, my own stress levels and the stuff that I had buried so deep, because we're all really good at that,
suppressing,
really great at suppressing the stuff and compartmentalisation, especially chicks, we're kind of good at that. Well, I am anyway. It's just, you think about something and you're like, oh, okay, you haven't got time for that right now. Put it in a box, put it in the back. Oh, something else. Oh, I haven't got time. I'll get to that. I'll deal with that later. Put it in a box, put it in the back. And then all of a sudden, my mind's like, it kind of looks like my garage at the moment.
There's 1,001 boxes in there, whereas the guy just mainly has about 3. So I really started to dive into all of the reasons why I had been sick, and I had to address all of those things in order to become well. I knew that literally it was a case of, I can't just leave something laying under a rug somewhere and go, I'll deal with that later. I literally had to go, okay, well, look in all the little nooks and crannies and uncover absolute everything that is Mich. So that I could get it all out there to be able to then deal with it. Definitely one at a time. But it was definitely food. And believe me, I was like that client I was talking about. I eat relatively healthy. So I thought, but there was always something else that you can do to up-level it just a tad, Well, that's where people come in. I mean, I hear it all the time. I eat really healthy. And we only know what we know based on the education we've been given. And that's why I say it's have an open mind to everything. Don't be attached to anything, because you just never know what can take you to the next level by being open. And same again, it comes back to thank you, because you've really taught me a lot around plant-based nutrition, which is obviously an area that I'm very passionate about now. And this is it. You've changed my life as well, so I'm very grateful for that. So from there, you've obviously been working with people, helping coach them, and the nutrition's played a big part in your journey. Obviously, you look at health holistically, and we talk about a jigsaw puzzle. That's not one piece that sorts everything out. It's all the pieces together that bring the picture to life. So, getting through then to when you came, and obviously you reached out to me. So that was all a bit of you reached out to me, we had a conversation on the phone, we shared our story, what I went through, what you had gone through, and we met. And do you want to touch a bit on that experience around the testing of the water and what you found and what you were going through as well, because I think that's really important for people to understand. For anyone who's actually watching this and listening, is that, I mean, your story's so powerful. What you were going through is amazing. So just please share. I know a lot, but I want you to hear from you. So, I love telling your story. It's great. In the nicest way possible.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, cool.
But it's all about learning, and I think that's the reason why. I think the reason why I went through all of the stuff that I did was because I'm actually extremely happy to share. Like, there's no holds barred here. I will talk about very freely about anything that you like. You know what I'm like, but wear my heart on my sleeve and can't shut me up.
Well, that's what makes effective change in the world.
Yeah.
So and I'm very thankful for that you do that. It's a gift.
Thanks.
So to go on, please.
So we met.
Everyone's like, come on, what's going on? What was Mich going through?
Okay, So basically, we met. I thought that I was drinking okay water. So through all of my studies and through really feeling into what was going on in my body, apart from dealing with the stress and removing people that weren't serving me as well, I kind of realised that water was going to be a really big thing for me, and that was. It sounds really simple, and it sounds like people go, well, duh, of course water's important, but people, they don't understand the level, the significance that it plays in somebody's life. And you go, oh well, you can see Martin Ball's up there and he's talking about the fact that your body's 70+% water, and everyone's like, yep, and then they don't think about it any more than that. Yeah. But it's not just a yep. It's like oh yeah, it needs to be in there.
I think the easiest way I define that, Mich, is when I say stand in front of a mirror and bring your hands together and look at yourself, look at the whole of yourself, and if you were cremated, you would fit in the palm of your hands.
Yeah.
That's how much rest is water.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the reality hits and we go, wow, that's a lot of water that we're made up of that we need to maintain. So sorry for interrupting.
No, it's absolutely critical. So I believed that I was drinking the best water in WA, and I think that those people do a very, very good job. And it is a great service that they're doing for people, definitely. However, for me personally, and for lots of other people, especially people that are suffering from illnesses that are inflammatory, I guess, that are related to inflammation, which is a lot of them. I thought that there was something, that there had to be something more, and I wanted to make absolutely sure. I'm always about, test and progress, because otherwise, how on earth are you supposed to measure where you've come from apart? Do you know what I mean? So I thought, okay, I believe I'm drinking the best water, and then you popped up, and I was like, well, this guy reckons he's got the best water in WA, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how that goes. I'm never closed-minded to anything, and.
Although you are a bit of a hard sell in regards to getting you across the line to believe in it.
Oh, absolutely, and I am, and the reason that I am a hard sell with absolutely anything that I do is because I am quite critical thinking, and I am a very big science nerd as well. Even though I do a lot of spiritual practice and I have my own beliefs and stuff, but at the end of the day, the one thing that I did learn on my journey was that it's about what I allow in.
Yes.
So if I was going to put anything into my body, I had to be 100% convinced that A, it wasn't going to harm me, and B, it was actually going to get me somewhere better than where I currently was. Yeah. Because otherwise, why would you bother? Yeah. And I am not. I had gone from being a person who would just blindly follow someone who said, "I've got the answer for that," here's a prescription, or here's a something or other, take this and it will make you better. I was beyond that now, and so when I reached out to you, then I said, so supposedly you've got the best water in WA, with a bit of a kind of cackle at the end. Tell me a little bit about that, Martin. I was absolutely a hard sell, but and it took me a while, right, to actually even do a trial, because I was just like bombarding you with questions constantly, and that's just me.
And at that point, I had my unit maybe 4 or 5 months for my own health, and was sharing the water with people who obviously, well, at the time that I knew that had sickness, and I didn't really know that much. I'd just seen the information, it made sense to me, and I bought the unit. And obviously at the time you were asking me all these questions, and I'm thinking, I don't know. Watch this, Mish. Watch this.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I really didn't know too much, and you helped me learn a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were bombarding me with stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
To get that clarity you needed.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I was very, very keen to learn, and keeping every part of my body crossed that what you were telling me was right. Yeah. Basically, so because I was
what you had gone through earlier.
Yeah, because what I'd gone through earlier, and I knew that the thing with cancer is that it's not just, and most people don't get this, they don't understand it unless they've actually been on the journey themselves. Is that cancer is not something that just is a one-off. It has repercussions that are far-reaching over numerous amount of years. Things that I was dealing with years later. Now I am like 7. What am I now? 6 years, maybe 6 years past. So yeah, because I was diagnosed at the end of 2010, but I was still going through. I was going through their treatment in 2011, and I think it was 2012 where I allowed them to give me that ridiculous operation. So I suppose it hasn't really been, too long, but.
However, you've changed a lot.
Yes, I have.
Life. Yeah,
I have.
Completely different place.
Yeah, I'm in a completely different place. Yeah.
So when I met you, I remember us sitting at the table and testing the water. And we were with some friends of mine as well, weren't we? And you met them and we tested the water, and I remember they were shocked. And I think there was actually an imprint of Mish's chin in the table as it hit the desk, as it hit the table here in the cafe, in the restaurant. Well, one of the things that really I can see it as clear as day was you had a compression bandage on your arm.
Yes.
And you had been so open on the phone call that we had prior to meeting that I knew you were open anyway. And I remember asking you, what's the bandage about? Because I thought it was from being burned, scarring and stuff. However. Yeah. It was from all the operations you had, wasn't it? With the lymph nodes removed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I had pretty chronic lymphedema. That was because when they did the operation to actually further the second one, so where they did a further mastectomy, if you can even do that on a non-breast area, they actually took out all of my lymph nodes. And there was, and it had actually spread through my lymph nodes, so it was actually through my lymphatic system, basically. Yeah. So when, of course, you take out somebody's lymph nodes, then it can't do the job that it's there to do anymore. So obviously your body sends, especially if you injure yourself, your body sends the beautiful healing fluid to wherever it is to go heal it. But if, of course, you don't have any lymph nodes there's no clear path, and especially no path back. So you end up, as when you see people that are walking around and they've got, one maybe really big leg, or, because they've had an injury there or something along those lines, or, like a big arm. And that was me. I literally had like a big elephant arm. That was, not great. And the problem was as well is that it wasn't just. For me, I was thinking, it does weird things to your head when you don't think you look as good as you should, but also it was just really ridiculously restrictive. So I used to be a squash player and I used to absolutely love it, and I have gone back into it now, but, and I'm loving it, but it meant I couldn't play squash anymore, and I couldn't, even just ridiculous tasks like writing, I couldn't write for very long, and I couldn't use keyboard. And it was, I couldn't play the piano, I couldn't do anything. And it was just really, it's just like, when I think about it now, my stomach. It's obviously hungry. So it was really just getting in the way. And that was one of the things that was a hangover from the cancer. So it's not just, here you go, have this, or we'll do that operation, there you go, or whatever, you got some scars, but that's it. It was much further reaching than that. So, so I had to wear that all the time, and then I had to go back into the hospital sometimes every third day to actually get them to actually bandage. And they would do this proper constrictive bandage kind of thing, and literally I'd come out and my arm would be like that, and you'd be walking, you know, try drive home from the hospital like that, which is what I had to do. So I'm actually really good at driving with one hand now. Sorry to all the WA police out there. I don't really do that anymore. Yeah, so I'm just really good at just doing everything with my left hand. So now I'm actually quite ambidextrous. So there was that, and then there was, you know, the issues that I was having around the inflammation in my fingers, and I don't think we spoke about that in this video, did we? Was that
we'll cover everything, because it's really, obviously anybody who's going through this, especially anybody who's going through cancer, I think they'll really relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. So then there was the issues with the because my acid levels was still way high, because I hadn't, at this point, still hadn't really addressed anything. I was just starting to learn, like going through that learning process. But I had never had arthritis ever until all of the, you know, the cancer and the treatment specifically, and it happened and all the rest. And then all of a sudden, it was just bit by bit by bit, I was noticing that I wake up in the morning and I couldn't actually move my fingers. You know, so I had chronic arthritis through all of my knuckles, to the point where just to do that in the morning was ridiculously painful, and I couldn't even reach for a glass of water. I couldn't pick a glass of water up. I just couldn't do it. You know, my wrists had seized, and no cups of tea in the morning for me. You know, which is one of the things that I really used to enjoy doing. Just couldn't actually pick it up. I'd have to use a straw. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, when you're thinking about, it's not like I'm, you know, 105 years old.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's debilitating way beyond the reach of just the initial diagnosis and the initial treatment and all the rest of it. You're talking about years later. You know, and then there was the other issues with because I used to wear rings, and I still do now, but I would get welting and burning and bubbling. I would actually react, because I was so ridiculously highly acidic, it would literally react with whatever metal that I had against my skin, and it would bubble and blister and then just bleed. So I couldn't wear rings, and then if I carried on doing it, it would literally within, I don't know, a couple of months, however long it was, it would literally just split the ring in half, completely crack it. The acid levels were so high that I would literally burn holes in the armpits of my t-shirts.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's insane.
You can't imagine it. Like, you just can't imagine it from the human body. But
that's right. And I remember over the years actually having gone to see a doctor for something or other else, and just happening to mention to them about the fact that, you know, I've thought that my sweat was actually acidic. You know, because what the hell? You know, I'm literally burning holes in shirts, and they're like, oh no, that's fine. You know, so there's no education out there around, you know, little telltale signs and things like that as well. So, so then obviously, so this is precursor to then me meeting you, and so then I was bombing you with all of these things. You're talking about, you know, inflammation and, you know, obviously the reduction of inflammation because of all the studies that have been done, you know, with the water and all the rest of it. And so my ears have just gone, ah.
Yeah, well, our three key areas was dehydration, acidosis, and inflammation, which were the three things that you were like, this really resonates with me, really makes sense. So,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%, So I obviously got, in the end, I think it probably took you a good 4 or 5 months maybe to get me to the point of convincing me to actually try the water. And then I tried the water, and I was experiencing results, but I didn't put it down to the water because, again, me being a hard sell, I was just passing it off onto anything else. In fact, I don't even care what it was. It was probably, I patted the cat today. It's probably because of that, not anything to do with the water. You know. So,
well, it's that, and sorry to interrupt again, I think it's that thing that, because water is just one of those things that we know we need to do, we drink it or we bathe in it without thinking about it. And it's that, and the thing I always talk about is the headache. When we get a headache, we don't automatically go, well, how much water have I drank today? I need a Panadol. I need a paracetamol.
Quick fix.
And I often say, as you know in my presentations, the body's not Panadol deficient, it's dehydrated, and it's the brain screaming out and saying, hey, give me what I need, which is water. I'm over 80% water, give me what I need. So obviously you knew then that, well, you were putting it down to other things because water just wasn't really on the agenda.
No, it wasn't. I knew I needed it to survive, but I didn't really think of it beyond that, really. Same as food. It was like, I knew I needed it to survive, and I knew that, you know, if you eat hamburgers, then that's probably not a great choice, and you probably should eat more lettuce or something along those lines, you know.
Yeah.
And but in saying that, I was never a hamburger person, and I actually always had a healthy diet. What I believed was a healthy diet.
Yep.
But it was a healthy diet, so say the authorities for the masses.
Yes.
I'm not even going to go there on that whole thing. That's another thing. But but I was doing everything right that I was being told to do by certain authorities.
Yeah.
You know, so so then I obviously trialled the water, and I was experiencing some really good results, but wasn't putting it down to that. And then I went away on holidays, and I was away on holidays for 3 weeks, and I didn't have the water, and I was just starting to notice, probably about 7 to 10 days in, I was starting to notice that there was some weird stuff happening. You know, like, hang on a minute, what's the bubbling going on underneath this ring all of a sudden? You know, that had stopped. I thought that whatever had happened there, you know, was fixed or something like that, but that had started. My skin on my face started like flaking. I was starting to, my arm, because the inflammation had got in my arm. I hadn't been wearing my compression bandage.
I was going to say, I remember there wasn't a bandage on your arm.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm pretty sure that was gone off really quickly.
Yeah, it was. It was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It was 3 weeks in it, and I was seeing the results, but I was putting down to everything else.
Yeah.
So kind of 10 days in, and my arm's just like blown up, and all of a sudden I've got, you know, the bubbling underneath my ring, and, you know, choice other things that were happening that I won't even go into, and I was just like, you have got to be joking me. It's that water. You've got to be joking me. And then I just remember ringing you and literally yelling at you down the phone, just going, Martin, I need the water. Literally like having a 3rd degree meltdown about the water, and just going, oh my God, I can't believe you were right. And he was like, well, I told you. I'm like, yeah, well, I know you told me, but I didn't believe you. I just thought it would be supportive, you know, give it a go, that kind of thing. I really honestly did not believe to get the results that I did from water. Yeah. I just didn't believe it for 1 second, and then I literally proved it to myself. So
yeah, cool. So then from there you actually went, you came back and you immediately got on the water. Yeah. And then from obviously that experience, then, you know, you felt better, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I did.
Came back on the water.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I felt a lot better. It was just absolutely incredible, and it just, I know that my sleep patterns had changed. I know that my energy levels were up. What else? My skin changed. Yeah. Definitely as well. There was way too many positives for it to be just chance. Yeah.
Okay. And then that obviously, then you came to me and said, look, I need to get a unit. Yeah. And you said, well, what's the best? I want the best, which is the one that I've got. So you said, I want to make sure I'm drinking the same water from the same unit. Yeah. So you got the Kangen 8.
I did.
And that was 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, so it must be around about 2 years ago. So there's been, from, if you can remember back to it, from the moment you got the unit, because you were getting water fresh from memory about every 3rd or 4th day.
Yeah, I was,
because of the different distance we were apart. Then once you got the unit, you're drinking it fresh every day from the unit. You felt there was a difference?
Yeah, there was a massive difference again. So it just kind of like took it to that next level. Yeah. So because I guess I was kind of coming from a bit of a... Once I realised what it was, like this magic water, I kind of was coming from a place of scarcity then, because I knew that it was going to be X amount of days until I got more, you know, so then I was freaking out going, well, I can't drink too much because then there's going to be none, and then what am I going to do, you know, and I guess because it, even though it's still filtered, it's not as great as, you know, giving the benefits as when it comes out, you know, first.
Fresh from the
unit, yeah, definitely.
I kind of like to explain it by the pipe that the water comes from is like the vine and the tomato there, and the second you pick the tomato from it, the tomato's dying.
It starts to deteriorate.
Yeah, so the water is its healthiest point as soon as it leaves the machine.
Yeah.
So obviously drinking it fresh every day, notice that's significant, and that's been 2 years. So and I know you did an amazing video around weight loss.
Oh.
You did a Facebook Live around weight loss and covered that, and was blown away that yes, it
was a side effect.
Yeah,
it was literally just a side effect, because I didn't. I'm not exactly an overweight person, you know, and I wasn't doing it for that. You know, for me it was 100%, you know, health based. I need to heal myself. Yeah. What can I get in that, you know, that's gonna make me well, because I never want to go back there again. You know.
Yeah, of course.
But then it was because of the treatment and everything else that had gone on in the operations and all the rest, it had done something weird to my body, in that I was retaining more weight than usual because of my arm. I couldn't play squash. You know, I was getting the joint pain was completely insane. My knees were giving up, basically. My ankles, just absolutely everything. And because of that, I couldn't really exercise properly. You know. So obviously drinking the water, it was twofold, I think, with the whole weight loss. One is that it actually enabled me to do exercise because the inflammation had subsided. But number two, it just because of what it actually does to your body, you know, which I now know because of the research that I've done, that it literally helps with weight loss. So it was like, oh, happy days, double blade sword, you know, it's fantastic.
Yeah, great. So that's, I mean, we obviously, and we have a lot of testimonials around, you know, improved skin, increased energy, weight loss, reduced pain.
The beauty water.
The beauty water, yeah. We I came over and Mich was just like, can't get enough of this. Getting the beauty water on. So and doesn't she look beautiful? Absolutely. So we and that's been one of the most powerful things. It's really important to understand. We're not saying the water's a cure, and we never would say the water's a cure for anything. Your body cures itself when nourished correctly.
That's right.
And as Mich mentioned earlier, you know, it's a case of loads of different pieces to the puzzle. So mindset, lifestyle, you know, good water, good plant-based foods, really, movement. You know, there's so many different areas that you can touch on, isn't there? The reason why I'm personally so passionate about the water is because, as Mich mentioned earlier, we're over 70% water, and we need it to survive. And because of hearing Mich's testimonial, and obviously seeing this lady, you know, 2.5 years ago, I didn't know Mich. So seeing Mich's journey is what I'm so grateful for, and so blessed for, to be given this technology to share with others and see how much it affects their lives. And there's many, many more testimonials, especially that, you know, most important woman in my life, my mum. Her testimonial, you know, and she's massively passionate about it. So Mich has actually shared her story with friends as well, who have purchased units and noticed health improvements. So you know, and it's just another great way. There's you know, I live my life every day by, if I can help change one person's life today, you know, today's been of great value. But at least if I can change one person's life while I'm here, then I've made a difference in the world. So already we know we are making a difference, and it's simply through water, forgetting about everything else that we do and we know. So Mich has actually got a business called Tremendous You. And would you like to share a little bit more about Tremendous You, Mich, so that people can understand and then obviously reach out to you for help and advice?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so basically I've been trying to define exactly my label for myself, and I think it's probably
amazing.
It's tremendous.
Tremendous, that's
clearly it's tremendous, Martin.
Well, I'm just setting you up.
So I'm a holistic health coach. So, I suppose we were discussing this earlier before we started the video, but the connotation towards being a health coach that people think about is that I'm literally just a foodie, or I do, you know, I'm a dietitian or something like that. Couldn't be further from the truth. I don't actually really get into the food that much with people. I can certainly give people guidance, you know, like you said that, you know, before we met, you were eating meat all of the time and stuff now, and now you're a beautiful vegan.
Yeah, I love it. Changed my life.
Yeah. So as a health coach, it's, you know, I teach people how to kind of get in touch with and in tune with their own body, very much holistically, so looking at all areas of their life. So, you know, whether it's relationships, whether it's their business or their employment, exercise. I'm not an exercise guru. I'm not a PT or anything along those lines. I can certainly recommend people, you know, that I work with. But mindset being a massive one, I suppose that's my specialty field, is mindset. Lots of different areas. So basically anything that makes up you, that is what I work with. And we unpack absolutely every part of what makes up, you know, a Martin or a Mich or whoever, you know. So basically it's really exploring every single part of somebody's life, because as you said before, you know, you can't just put in one or two pieces of a puzzle and go, okay, well, how come the picture's not working? You know, you need to put all of the pieces into the puzzle, and then you've got the whole, right? So, and you can certainly, by doing that, you can also see where the gaps are. You know. So, so I work with people along those lines. I do energy healing work as well, and I talk to people a lot about, you know, vibrations and frequencies and how that affects us too. So I come at it from lots of different angles, which is why it's a bit difficult to kind of define my role, I guess. But what I use is my experience in healing myself and helping other people to go on their own healing journey. I am not a healer. I believe that everybody is their own healer, and all they need is guidance to start to walk down the right path towards their own healing. You know, and so I help to get them to learn what that looks like for them, right? Because it's like, for example, I mean, when I did my health coaching course through New York, they taught us something ridiculous like 120 different diets. And the one thing that I learned out of that whole thing is that there is not one diet on the planet that is actually suitable for every person. You literally have to learn how to read your own body, to really feel into that, to see how your body works, how it acts and reacts to virtual, you know, to any situation, and to foods and that kind of stuff as well, to see how you can best fuel it. You know, and it comes down to allowance. It's like what you allow in.
Absolutely, and that's something I wanted to touch on, because I know before Mich got excited when she said about me going vegan, and I used to be a very, very heavy meat eater. 7 meals a day, 5 of those were animal protein, and then I went organic paleo, so I went down to 1 meat dish a day, and the intention was never to go vegan. That was never going to happen. He says, and then I went. She planted the seeds, and then she went. Then I went vegetarian.
Yes.
And worked my way through to 6 months ago being vegan. So pretty much at the start of the year, I decided to go vegan, and it wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't necessarily because Mich did not make me do anything. Like she said earlier, it's really guidance. It's kind of like if you don't know how to ride a bike and someone comes along, they don't teach you how to ride a bike. You teach yourself how to ride the bike. They just help give you some guidance to say, do it like this, and you get on the bike and you ride. So I was seeing more and more stuff, more and more people coming into my life who were, and I hate labelling, but were vegans, and seeing how connected they were, how happy they were, how healthy they looked. Was what really took me across the line. And I can remember saying to a good friend of ours, there is no chance I am going to go vegan. And yes, today I am a whole food plant-based vegan. And I think it's really important to just understand that there's people who are vegan because they support animal cruelty, which 100% I'm behind. However, they eat rubbish because their focus is just on the animals and they don't know how to nourish the body correctly. And we can't help the animals unless we help ourselves. So the whole food plant-based angle, which Mich really educated me on a lot, is where my energy is. And yes, I still have a bit of cake, I still have a bit of ice cream occasionally when I'm out. However, it's very, very small amounts. One of the things that I got tested was my blood to find out what the blood diet says.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually should be having quite a high level of animal protein according to the blood type diet.
So you're an O.
I'm a B plus.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay,
so apparently that's
interesting.
you should still be having quite a bit of animal protein.
Yeah, right.
Not massive amounts like I was.
Yeah.
However, the only thing I can really say to give clarity to people who are probably watching this going, there's no way I'm going to ever go vegan, is that the level of awareness and consciousness, my spirituality has just grown exponentially, and you've seen this, especially through a lot of my social media posts, and I can feel it. So many people have said over the last 3 to 4 months, because obviously it's a process of going through it, how healthy I look, how much I've shifted, and how well I speak, and so on, and things like that. And this isn't all about me. This is just a case of saying it's worked for me, even though on the outside things say you should be having animal protein. I've believed within, and I believe within, plant-based or vegan, whichever you want to call it, is my journey. And I would encourage you, anyone watching this, to really embrace that and just go within and ask yourself the question: is this the right thing for me? Do I feel it's the right time to take that? And at least give it a go. At least give anything a go and see how you feel.
Just
like this.
Be open to stuff.
Don't. There's a lot of marketing hype and stuff around that puts people off a lot of things, and it's really a case of detaching from the noise and going there and saying, hey, is this something that I want to do? I hate saying the word try, so I'm avoiding the word try as best I can. Is this something I want to trial and see how I go, and just notice the difference. See if you can notice the difference. I mean, that was something like when we revert back to the water. You eventually gave it a trial, and then you had a physical experience.
Yes.
However, mentally, and this is one of the big things I focus on, mentally, when we see it, we go, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if we have a physical experience, which 9 out of 10 people do during the trial phase, they're already sold on the importance of it. So really, I'd encourage you guys to reach out to Mich from Tremendous You. One of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful people I've ever met in my life, and really helped me along my journey. Just knowing she's a friend is so valuable to my life. So thank you so much, Mich. And Mich is very open to anybody contacting her. She is a massive advocate around cancer, and that's also for males.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, so please, if
male breast cancer is actually a thing.
Yes,
as well. But any kind of cancer, anyone that's out there that wants to reach out, I'm 100% contactable. 100%.
Yeah, please, especially if you've got a partner there from a male side who is going through, and as a male, I know we can be alike and we can be quite disconnected, and advice from a female we may not want, because there's the masculine energy there. However, I actually met a guy a couple of weeks, I've met him about a year ago, but I keep seeing him at different events, and he got diagnosed with breast cancer, and he said there's just no support whatsoever for the men. He had to be in a pink gown, which he said, I've not got a problem with pink, but I don't think it's right. Men should be able to wear blue. But no, he had to wear a pink gown, and he had to be segregated from the females. And he said, I was in a room on my own with nobody else there, no one talking to me, no support. And there's no support from the government either. So really, it's just that case of wherever we can get help, and we are all connected as human beings, and we're all here to help each other. Reach out and Mich, like I said, she's got a massive heart and is always there to help people. So, thank you, Mich.
No worries.
You are amazing. You are tremendous.
So are you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my tremendous endorsement.
High five. Yeah, guys. So Mich's details will be at the end of this video, and obviously, like I said, you can connect through us for a Sexy Water as well. So thank you, and have a great day. Bye bye.